Hi everyone, hope you're well. So today is Friday the 17th of July 2015, and again I'm gonna do an off-the-cuff video because there's a lot of things to discuss, but I want to try and keep it short and sweet. Because what I'm seeing is people are going to my YouTube channel and actually not watching until the end, which is disappointing really, but hey, life goes on. A lot of important information is contained in the videos that I make, and whilst it comes from my perspective, when one looks at it deeper, you can see a psychological pattern, and they're all self-development tools, and they're all pieces of information that serve each of us to our higher purpose, our higher good. So what I'm noticing, there's a big shift in energy, there's a big shift in thought processes. Yes, there's been a recent new moon. Astrology does play a big part in the way that humans act and react, or respond is more of a better word. And there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of unfinished issues that each of us has to deal with, and these are highlighted these days. Some of us are believing we're making mistakes. Nothing in life is a mistake. Everything is a lesson. We take a lesson. We should be changing our terminology. For every not so good situation in our life, there has always been good. And when you take the goodness out of everything, you dispel the bad. And this is the purpose of living. We can all be like a pig and wallow around and roll around in our own muck. This makes them happy when they're doing this stuff. It keeps them cool, it keeps them alive. For the human, which is a loving being and a relationship driven being, we really just want to be loved, and we really want to have a relationship, and we really want to be happy, and we really want to be happy in ourselves. But we always seem to go outside, external. We're looking for external stimulus, and we're looking for external satisfaction. And what we're really neglecting is the internal satisfaction. And our heart is an amazing organ, the same as our brain. And when our heart is full of love, we are on top of the world. If you ever noticed that, you're flying by, you're floating by in this, I suppose you can call it 5D, fifth dimensional way of living. And is that really what we're doing? Yes, we are. When we're firmly stuck in 3D, our lives are a bitch, our husbands are a bastard, our children are rats and brats, and we forget all these good things. We forget over the life that we've lived, all of those good things. We are just constantly bombarding ourselves with, oh, I wish I could change this. If I had the opportunity again, I would change that. It's nonsense. You can't change it. It's impossible to change it. What you can do is change today. And this is a passion of mine because I have experienced it in such a radical way that even I find it intriguing and interesting. And I just want to talk about it because I was firmly stuck in 3D world. I had all my children. I was a father to 3 children that were not that were from different biological parents, and I love them. I love them as if they were my own children. They're the diamonds in my eyes. They're the most beautiful, wonderful beings that we can create, and I love them dearly. And one of the things, despite the way that I was brought up, I have always treated them as adults. Maybe this is embedded in my psyche, that this is the way they should be treated. Give them their choices, give them their freedoms. Yes, you install discipline, and yes, you install some sort of structure, reporting structure, if you want to call it in a 3D word, reporting structure, your expectations, your wishes for them. But ultimately, kids, just let them free, let them explore their own boundaries. I see parents running around with their children behind them, trying to stop them from falling over. Listen, Kids got to fall over to feel pain. They've got to know what pain is. You know, I remember once when I was a kid, I think I was maybe 6 or 7, I was intrigued by the electricity socket. You know, what would happen if I stuck something in there? And I remember my parents said, "No, you can't play with electricity sockets. Can't play with electricity sockets." So what did I do? I stuck a coat hanger in there and got an electric shock. But these days, you go to IKEA and you get something to stop you from kids putting their fingers in there, or you get these door things to stop kids from opening their doors. What does this teach? It teaches nothing. It teaches you can't go in there, or you can't play with this. So these are all structures that we're creating. So you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. This doesn't allow us to evolve and learn. You know, I remember again living in New Zealand with Jessie when Jessie was, I think, 2 or 3. She used to open the drawers in the kitchen, and she used to climb up and not climb up onto the workbench. And her mother would say, "No, you can't do that." And you would say, "Okay, she can do that." She has to learn. She has to learn that if she falls, she falls. If she opens the drawer, what's in there? You know. So what we did was we moved all of the sharp objects into the middle drawers, and we put a spatula to connect all the drawer handles together. So when she opened the drawers, she opened them all, and she couldn't get into where the sharp objects were, but she could explore. And this is, I think, one of the things that's missing in today's society. We're not allowing our children to explore because we're in such a controlled environment. We're embedded with this corporate culture, or from our peers, or from our parents, from our family, how we should live, how we are expected to live. But guys, go back to the 60s, go back to the early 70s, Mamas and Papas eras, the CND campaigns, the peace. This was free living, and they had their voice, and they had their ability to love. And yet you can take away all the narcotics and all this stuff and the free love. But this was a message of free and pure love without external influence. And when you do look at your life, I would say 90% of the decisions that you've made are being based upon what other people think, on what other people say, or how other people have influenced you. Where is your decision? Where is your decision-making process? And you really should go back to your child. You should go back to your childhood when you were exploring. I remember running in the fields. I remember so many things I did as a kid. And these are things that I encourage my children to do today. When we were in 2000, when I left New Zealand, we lived in the valleys in South Wales. And we had a big forest behind us. And kids go and explore, go and play, go and discover nature. And this is important. And as humanity evolves, we're forgetting all of these things. We're forgetting that how valuable and how important they are. And this is because man is busy consuming the rainforest. They're consuming fossil fuels. There are alternatives. I know at least 3 inventions that would do away with the need to burn fossil fuels. At least 3. I created an invention with a business partner in 2000 that would do away with carbon dioxide emissions. I also created an invention and bought a company that was involved in collecting larvae of tsetse fly in Africa to prevent tsetse flies from biting and spreading disease. I have another colleague that I met last year who's a descendant of Nikola Tesla, a direct descendant. He's got an invention that will create energy from water. But all of these ideas and all of these creations have been suppressed. Why are they suppressed? Because it doesn't serve the corporate world. It doesn't serve the profiteers. It doesn't serve the shareholders. It doesn't serve the interests of those that are controlling us. You know, why do you think organic food is not so big these days? Why do you think that biofoods are not so big? It's a very, very small market, and these are gradually breaking into the marketplace as we as humans decide, we've got a choice. We want to buy organic food. We want to buy um, bio wines. We want to buy all of this stuff. But it's not a big market. It's a very, very small and niche market. But it's there. But there are revolutionary ideas out there that can change the way that humanity evolves, that can solve the carbon dioxide emissions problems within a matter of 10 years. There's ways of creating energy from river flows that would do away with the need of nuclear power and fossil fuels. These are all technologies that I have access to here in my brain. Yet the corporate beast doesn't want to take these ideas on. Why? Because it doesn't serve their purpose. It's the same as when I heard about a guy that developed a car that runs on water. Can you imagine the way that would be in the oil industry? Just think about it. All of these ideas are bought, they're filed, and they're either shelved or they're never implemented. But the guy that's created it, or the inventor, has got a small fortune in some cases to keep himself shut, to keep him quiet, because that's his ego acting. I still have the patents, I still have the technology, but I have no intention of ever releasing it into the marketplace, because it will never get to the marketplace. And this is because the corporate beast of the world is in control. I will implement the technology wherever I build my vision. I will implement the technology for myself and use it and allow others to come and see it, and they can make the decision whether they want to copy it and use it themselves. But there are solutions, and there are solutions for everything. If you're struggling with your job, if you're struggling with your workplace, if you're even looking for work and you're not getting through a front door, you'll keep getting knocked back, take a step back for a second and say, okay, look at the skills that you have internally, look at the things that you enjoy, look at the things that you love, and write them down on a piece of paper. Somewhere in there's a business idea for yourself. If you lack certain skills, reach out to somebody and say, I've got this wonderful idea, but I don't have these skills. Just because you have a great idea and you lack certain skills doesn't mean to say that you can't achieve it. If your kids are struggling at school, talk to them, find out what the problem is. If you're struggling at home, talk to them. The most important thing when you're on this journey is talking to the people that you love. Not necessarily your twin, but talking to the people that you love, the people that you really love. And unfortunately, there are going to be people that you need to remove from your life. And this is one of the, I said this last week, one of the toughest things that you have to face, because it's the truth. And for eons, man has been saying, you need to live in this structure, you need to live in this structure. And it's not eons actually, it's hundreds of years. If you go back in history, how did people live? Hunter-gatherers. They went, they saw, they explored, they survived, they lived. They didn't have very much control in those days. They explored and they discovered. This is what you have to do with yourself, because within you is an amazing set of skills, an amazing organ that can help you get to where you need to go. So turn everything that you think of negative into positive. Where you see something dark, turn it into light. If you think bad of your twin, look at a picture that makes you smile and change that energy. Because what you put out is what you'll get back. And it's funny, if you keep putting it out there, you're going to keep revolving in the same situation. And if you look back at the past week or the past month, you'll see that I'm right. You just need to change the way that you think, and everything will be fine. Because you get your inner strength and your inner purpose. When you have that, the world is your oyster. There you go guys, 15 minutes. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you soon. Take care.